Well, good morning, everybody, and good to have you here at this month's listening and learning session. And I have the opportunity to do something I've not done before. I'm at Roosevelt High School, and I am engaging some government students here at Roosevelt, and really enthused to be here today. So really to kick off the program, I'm going to turn it over to one of the government teachers, Mrs. Gill, and go right ahead, please.
Hi, this is the American government class of this year. We have a semester government class, so Mr. DeYoung's class is over here, and my class is on this side of the classroom. We have opened a wall for us. We are so excited to have Mr. Huether here, our mayor for 2 terms, who's going to be answering any questions that, may come up. So we'd like to really turn it up. And, over to you. You are citizens, and as he had said earlier, the citizens really are the people who have hired the mayor, and he works for the citizens. So he's interested in any kind of questions you would have regarding city government, being a mayor, anything of the sort. Is there anybody who'd like to start?
Come on, everybody, let's go.
Here we go.
First of all, it's good to be here. Mrs. Gill, thank you.
Uh-huh.
And thanks for the intro. Yes, thank you.
Here you go.
All right, here we go. Would you just tell me your first name, please?
Rashma.
Can you talk into the mic?
Rashma.
Nice to meet you, Rashma.
Okay, so what are some long-term changes you've seen in Sioux Falls since you've been a mayor?
Well, thank you, Rashma. I appreciate it. Probably the biggest thing that's happened is that when I first started as your mayor, it was a different city economically. We were not doing very well. And right now, our town is really just rocking. At the highest level. We've got the lowest unemployment rate in America. We've got all kinds of jobs across all kinds of industries all over town. Our town is growing substantially. We added 5,200 people onto our city last year alone. To kind of give you some perspective, that's adding the city of Harrisburg onto Sioux Falls in 1 year. We've had 4 straight years of record construction. There's construction all over the place. We certainly haven't invested in quality of life in a big way. The one that you probably are most concerned with is the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Or maybe the indoor pool, for example, or a more vibrant downtown, all kinds of things. But I think that those are probably the biggest things that we've seen in terms of change in the city. Now, I don't want to put my head in the sand, though, either. There have been some other things, though, that certainly happened. We have had some increased crime. We have. That is real. And the biggest cause for that crime, I don't think is so much our growth and our vibrancy, but it's really drugs, the biggest thing. Meth is a monster drug. Prescription drugs, monster drug that has really changed the dynamic not only for Sioux Falls, but all kinds of other cities across South Dakota and across America. So thank you. Appreciate it. Nice. Thanks for kicking us off. Who's next? Thank you. Anybody? Thank you. And Ms. Gill, I would urge you not to sit down. If you're going to be the moderator or does anybody else want to walk around all day? Ms. Gill, it's like it's yours, so get ready. Go. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Katie.
Hi, Katie.
I was just wondering how this past presidential election has affected you and your job.
Well, Katie, it's probably a little too early to maybe talk about the impact of the latest presidential election. However, I think that one of the things that cities and states appreciate is probably more of a sense of calmness, a sense of we can kind of count on things to go like this. That is always good for cities and states, and I think right now it's maybe a little more uncertain with some of the things that are happening. New mayors, new governors, new presidents, they will do that. I mean, they come into office. They want to make some changes happen, and so people are kind of anxious with that. Some of the things, Katie, that have recently been discussed are some of the budget cuts that the president is recommending or would like the Senate and the House to consider. The reality is that a number of those budget cut items will ultimately hit Sioux Falls in some way. Whether it be affordable housing dollars, whether it be public health dollars, whether it be things like impacting education dollars. Those are things that we are certainly watching and intently, because ultimately it will impact our city. But I think that regardless of who the president is, I think that we've got just a great country, and we've got a lot of checks and balances in government. We've got a very, very strong group of people that live here, that work here, that play here, and will ultimately, get things done for our country. So the one thing, though, I tell you, I'm not going to say we're immune to what's going on in the rest of the country, but we are really doing well here in Sioux Falls. Just a couple of days ago, the Wall Street Journal talked about Sioux Falls and how this city is flourishing while other cities around us are not doing so well. So we're not immune to D.C. We're not immune to the changes that are happening out there. But I think as long as we keep our head down, keep doing stuff that we think are the right thing to do, we're going to be just fine. So Katie, thank you. Thanks for doing it. Others, thank you in the back. I got it. Thank you. Tell me your name, please.
Carlos.
Carlos, nice to meet you.
What are some of the things you hope to accomplish for the city in the near future?
Well, Carlos, I've got 14 months left to serve as your mayor. I've been doing it now for about 7 years. And I want to just keep working hard to get some things done. And probably but I'm probably going to be a bit more boring for all of you than I was the first 7 years. And I'll try to give you a flavor for that. I don't want to tackle some monster project without having the ability to really see it to the end. That's just kind of my style. For example, like the events center, like the indoor pool, like the River Greenway, things like that. I'm more hesitant to tackle something big like that. But we are going to do things like the Levitt Pavilion downtown. We are going to tackle things like ensuring that we've got a good budget for the next mayor, for the next group of city councilors, whatever it would be. But the reality is, Carlos, is that one of the things that I'm probably most concerned with in our city is we've got we pay for government in two ways, government class, really two ways. Anybody want to take a guess on what those two ways are in Sioux Falls? What kind of taxes? Good job. When you go to McDonald's, what do you pay every time you buy a Big Mac? Sales tax. Good job. Sales tax is the primary way that we fund government in Sioux Falls and in South Dakota. What's the other way the other primary way, the other tax? We don't have a state income tax. Good job. We're one of the few states in America that don't have a state income tax. If you own a home or if you own property, what do you pay on that? Property taxes. Those are the two ways really that we fund government. And one of the challenging things that we have, Carlos, right now for this mayor and I believe mayors to come is that we are seeing a softening of the sales tax revenue. And I'll give you a flavor of why, okay? How many of you like to buy stuff on the internet? Raise your hand. Yeah. Joel, get that, okay? Raise your hand. Who likes to buy stuff on the internet? Okay. Joel, get over here. Pan over here. Sioux Falls. I don't know if you saw that, but just about everybody likes buying stuff on the internet. Here's the challenge, is that when you do that, and I get it, I've done it. My bride's done it. My bride's done it more than I've done it, trust me. But every time that we do that, our ability to collect sales tax revenue is really diminished. And every year there's been an increase of about 15%. More and more sales are being done on the internet. And so that's less revenue coming into our city and into our state. So that's less money for schools, less money for roads, less money for event centers, less money for healthcare, less money for this, less money for that. So Carlos, that is going to be a real challenge, not only over the next year, but I think over the years to come. So good job. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you. Appreciate it. Others? And you don't have to read them off the list if you don't want to, or will they get in trouble?
No.
No. Okay, good. Did you hear that? You won't. So go right back there. Thank you. Thank you. Tell me your name, please.
I'm Emily.
Hi, Emily. Nice to meet you.
I have heard rumors about a possible exit on 57th Street. Are there plans for that, or is there just
Good job.
just talk?
Good. No. I think there certainly are plans for another exit on not only I-29, but also I-90 and the like. The challenge is that the planning involves not just the city of Sioux Falls, but it also involves the state and it involves the federal government too. And money, they used to pay for things like exits off of the interstates, used to come in a lot more frequently from the federal government than it does today. So in order to get another exit off of an interstate, you really have to prove its mettle. You really do. And in fact, now they won't even let you have an exit until you've got that development pretty much raring and ready to go or already in place. So we are working with the state, we are working with the federal government to try to get another exit over there near 57th Street and I-29. But it's going to be a ways out. I would imagine probably 10 years, out. Do you live over there? I do. You do. And right now, you're kind of stuck because the only way you're going to get to your house is probably taking the T exit or 41st Street and trying to finagle your way around to get back there. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, your quality of life would go up dramatically if we had another exit sign there.
And I know a lot of people that have said, yeah, this would be amazing to have. It would make things a lot easier.
You bet. You bet. And not only better quality of life, but economic development opportunities too.
Yes.
Because you'd have more hotels there, more restaurants, more retail would sprout up there as well. So we're working on it, but it's still going to be a ways out. Yeah, good job. One of the things that we're working on now is the interchanges or the exits that we do have. For example, those especially on 229, we're working to make them better. For example, over by Lincoln High School, no booze, over by Lincoln High School riders, that is one of the most challenging interchanges that we have in the city. It is such a hard thing to get onto the interstate over there by Lincoln, because it was not. When we built that interchange, we weren't planning on having 180,000 people in our city this fast, and now we're feeling it. Okay, so that's an example of an interchange that we're going to try to make better. Make traffic move faster, safer, and so we're working on those as well as brand new ones. So good job. Thank you. There's a question back there. Thank you.
My name is Rachel. I noticed that you talked about the budget cuts.
Yes, Rachel.
And personally, like being involved in show choir, and a lot of people are involved in like sports or just different activities. How do you, what's the plan for those kids that are involved with the budget cuts? Like, how are you planning to keep it going?
Rachel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit me good with that one, right? Right in the gut and right in the heart. Because a lot of people watching this program, and they'll remember this. When I was I'm a Yankton High School buck, okay? Sorry. I'm a Yankton High School buck. When I was in the 5th grade, the 6th grade, the 7th grade, the 8th grade. We had organized sports, organized activities in just about everything that we did. Everything. I mean, 5th grade basketball, 5th grade wrestling, 5th grade baseball, 5th grade choirs, 5th grade bands, all those things. Okay? We did. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And then what happened, and you folks don't even realize this, what happened is that state government, federal governments started to make cuts. And they made cuts in things like education. And so what happened is that they started to prioritize things, and some of the first things that went by the wayside, and always happens, are some of these activities that I love, that I value, that I think make a huge impact on young people, young or old, rich or poor, black or white. I could care less. It makes an impact on these young people, and if we can impact them when they're young, they'll be even stronger when they're adults. So I know it's kind of a long-winded beginning to answer your question, but I do have fears that there's more cuts to come. I do. I do. Because the first places sometimes that we cut are in those things that I think we should value the most, such as education, such as some of the extracurricular activities that come along with education. But it's been hard. Yeah, but even in city government, you know, we're making tough choices too. You said you're in show choir. Okay. Well, we have a city government summer activity where we were, I don't know if we were teaching young people to sing or we were working with young people so that they could sing, kind of like a choir practice in the summer. Well, we're looking at cutting it. Did you get that? I mean, it was Emily? Rachel. Rachel, I have to look you in the eye and say, hey, Rachel, guess what? We're looking at cutting it because we've got to make tough choices in some of the programs that we're doing in the city of Sioux Falls because of those lowering revenues that we get coming in. And when you make tough choices like that, again, you're going to impact these programs that a lot of people value. And it's really hard. I'd love you all to be the mayor for at least a month, okay? So you can get a flavor for how hard it is trying to balance the needs and the wants with the revenues that we have. So good job. It's going to be hard. And ultimately what happens is that in federal government or state government or in city government, you ultimately go back to the basics of the basics, the fundamentals. Those are the things that you cut and just about everything, or that you keep, and everything else kind of gets considered for a cut. Good job. Does it make you mad?
Well, I suppose so, yes.
Yeah. Sioux Falls, you didn't catch that, but you said, well, yeah, I suppose so, yes. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And every time we cut a program, boy, does it make people mad. It does. So good job. Others, good job. Thank you. Anybody? Come on, RHS. I need your help. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, well, we're getting ready for this question. Let me ask you, what part does the Sioux Falls City Schools play in the city budget? Very
good. I'm not going to say zero because that would be too easy. But in the city of Sioux Falls, city government or the mayor, we have very, very limited authority or impact on public education or schools like Roosevelt. Okay, I'm saying limited. Now there's still some things that we have to do, but when it comes to the who is hired, class sizes, what the building is going to look like, whether you keep a chorus program in place or eliminate the wrestling team, whatever it would be. Those decisions are done by Dr. Maher, by the school board, and by the state and the parents and things like that. We do have some impact, but it's more limited. For example, we've got school resource officers here at Roosevelt. Okay, those are city-funded folks that are protecting and serving all of you. Things like just the basics of, the water, the light, the sanitary sewer, the roads, the parks, all those things. Certainly the city government has an impact on, but we're pretty limited. Now, in other cities across America, the mayor actually does have that responsibility. In Sioux Falls, that's not the case. So good job. Next. Who is next? Thank you.
My name's Matt. I was just wondering how you being mayor has affected your home life.
Oh, Matt. Good job, buddy. Good job. Thank you. Thanks, Matt. Thank you. Well, first of all, I would encourage all of you to consider public service. No kidding. I started my dream of being a public servant when I was in the 6th grade. 6th grade. I won a speech contest in the 6th grade, and it really changed my life. So I would encourage all of you to do it. At least consider it. But realize it is going to impact you personally in ways that you can't imagine, and it will certainly impact your family life. Now, my mom and dad were divorced when I was in the 5th grade, okay? And my dad had some challenges in his life, so he was not around for me very much when I was growing up. So I wanted to wait to run for mayor or to be a public servant until after my daughter Kylie left the nest. She's a warrior, okay? Again, sorry. She's a warrior. So when she graduated, that's when I decided I was going to pursue my dream to be a public servant, okay? Because I knew the impact it would have. And it's real. It's real. I mean, it impacts your family in major ways. Not only my wife Cindy of 30 years, not only my daughter Kylie, and who's now married with baby, but all other things like my mom. My mom will read something in the paper, and she'll go, "Mike, is that true?" And and you can tell that there's some concern coming from her voice or from her facial expressions, and so you have to explain that to her in different ways. So yes, it definitely impacts you, but the rewards are dramatically greater than the sacrifices any day. So again, I would encourage good people, if they want to do it, go do it. It's a blessing to be able to serve. It really is. It's a great deal. I mean, I would never have this opportunity to engage you like this if I wasn't the mayor, and I'm having a blast. But you'd have to ask my wife Cindy what she wants us to do next, and I might as well. I don't know if I'll probably get ready for this one. Right now we're being questioned. All right, so what are you going to do next, Mayor? And I'm not going to answer that question right now in front of all of you, but I will tell you this. My wife and I, my family, we talk about it all the time. And it will be a family decision. It won't be just this guy's decision. So good job. Would you consider running? No, okay. I respect it. Thank you. Others, keep going. And it doesn't have to be on the sheet, anything. Let's go, Rushmore will go there and then we'll come to you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, because there's budget cuts in the school department, isn't there supposed to be a trade-off in other departments where there will be an increase in budget? So what are the other departments where there's an increase in budget?
Now, you said, you have to say that again, because you started with budgets of school cuts.
Right.
Okay.
So where is that money going to,
Okay.
the majority of the money?
Okay. Well, again, the discussions that are being held right now, nationally or in state governments, for example, in terms of making cuts, that's probably one of the hottest topics in terms of, okay, so what are you going to do if you're going to make cuts here? What are you going to use that money for? Okay? And so the argument is varied. Okay? Some people want to make cuts so that you have what we'll call a balanced budget. And that means that the revenues are equal to the expenses. And as you know, in federal government, for example, we've got monster deficit spending. So we're spending a lot more than we're taking in. So some people want to make budget cuts to be begin to get a balanced budget. But then there's others who believe that what we should do is take money from this area and move it over to this area, okay? And again, those arguments differ. What should they be for? Some said, well, let's have a stronger defense. Others say, well, let's invest it in things like healthcare. Or what just happened in the state of South Dakota last year is that there were monies that were actually moved into education, especially things like teacher pay, okay, which I was very thankful for, because it was a topic that in the state of South Dakota we really didn't tackle with the vigor that it needed. And so, folks like Governor Dugard, for example, and other leaders, they said, you know what, yeah, let's tackle this. And thank goodness they were able to find some additional money and gave it to increase teacher pay in the state of South Dakota. Because folks, I'll tell you, these teachers, these administrators, these coaches, they're certainly not doing it for the money. No way. Because they can make a lot more money doing other things than teaching, but they're doing it for other reasons, and I love that. But I still think that we should be able to pay them, a bit more. So good job. So again, that's the thing. It's always when you're in government, you're always trying to represent your communities, represent your states, represent your country as best you can. But ultimately, these people are trying to make those budget decisions as best they can. But again, every time you make a decision, you've got at least probably 45% of the people that are really mad at you every time. And that's one of the challenging things about being your mayor. So good job. Right back there. Thank you.
Who is it?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natty. And
Natty.
I'm from Texas, and I've only been here for about 6 months, so I was curious on in what ways is Sioux Falls city government better than other places?
Natty, where are you from in Texas?
I'm born in Dallas.
In Dallas, okay. I moved back to Sioux Falls from San Antonio. Okay, my sister Vicki lives in Dallas, okay, and she's a teacher there, okay. Well, first of all, welcome. We're glad you're here. We need about 3,000 more of you to come into Sioux Falls because of all the jobs that we have, but we're glad you're here. I think that the city of Sioux Falls, we really have a really strong city government for all kinds of reasons. Number one, financially, you may be in the strongest city financially in terms of living within our means, having a balanced budget. We actually have a reserve fund of excess of 25%. We're tackling things like the basic things like infrastructure, roads, sewer lines, water lines, public safety, parks. We're doing that, as well as doing some other good things like investing in a new events center, vibrant downtown, indoor pools, good schools, and things like that. So I think you've come to a city that is strong in our fundamentals. But also, I think we are pretty open and transparent and certainly available to the people. You come from Dallas. You probably didn't see the mayor of Dallas in the grocery store very often. Well, guess what? You'll see this mayor either in a church or at a basketball game or at a rock concert or at a grocery store or whatever it would be. You'll see me or your city councilors a lot more often. And that's a good thing, but it's also a challenging thing because I can't hide from you guys. I can't. If there's an issue, you're going to let me know about it. If there's an opportunity, you're going to let me know about it. So you're in a bigger town in South Dakota, so we are more available, more open to not only things that we're doing well, but also things that we're not doing well. And I think that too, we are growing, and I think we've been able to stay a step ahead of the growth, okay? I know what San Antonio growth is like right now. I know what Dallas growth is like right now. I know what Austin growth is like right now. And I think they're really struggling staying a step ahead of that growth. I mean, it is just going boom. It's just exploding. And I think there's more challenges there. But we're glad you're here. Can I ask why you came to Sioux Falls?
My mom lives here.
Your mom is here. Thank you. Well, tell your mom thank you. And we're honored to have you here. We're blessed to have you here. There's plenty of opportunities here. And one thing, too, you're going to find, okay? Once you put South Dakota on your resume, and it's now on your resume, okay, you're a really hot commodity right now all across the country. And as much as I want all of you to stay in Sioux Falls, and I do, and I don't think there's ever been a better time to get you to stay in Sioux Falls than right now. And I mean it. Our quality of life is as good as it's ever been. Job opportunities as good as it's ever been. We're a very safe community, a great place to raise a family, great place to find a job, great place to start a business, all that. I am going to say this. If you do leave our city and if you do leave our state, you're going to be very well received wherever you go. Because South Dakotans, we're good. We're hardworking. We're smart. We're loyal. We have a proven track record of success wherever we go, and you will be a very, very hot commodity wherever you go. Now, my goal is that if you leave, I need you to come back someday, just like I did, just like my daughter Kylie did, but I need you to do the same. So it's going to be good on your resume that you've got now Sioux Falls, South Dakota on that resume. I don't know if you believe it or not, but it is. It's the truth. Yeah, so welcome. Welcome. Other questions? Anything? Come on, good people. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to pass that back. Thank you. And it doesn't have to be stuff on your paper, too, so hit me.
In a perfect world, where do you see Sioux Falls in the future, and like the communities and the culture that we have as a community?
Well, in my perfect world, of course, there's some things that I think are most important, and that is the number one factor to me in a perfect world in Sioux Falls is do you all feel safe? Okay, that's because if you don't feel safe, then the rest is not as important. And so these challenges that we have with things like drugs and some of the crime issues that we deal with, those are things that I'd really love to ensure that we definitely stay a step ahead of, and we're doing our best to do that. But it is a challenge. In a perfect world, we'd have this great quality of life, a great place to raise your family, a great place to start a new job, a great place to have fun when you're not working. In the perfect world, I'd really like to have good job opportunities for everybody so that you can have increased wages, better benefits, a better work environment. That would be something that I'd like to ensure that we have. And then in my more perfect world, I think that we should value diversity in a stronger way. And I think that we're doing that in Sioux Falls more and more, and we're realizing the positive impact of that. Not all of us have this colored skin. We don't. In fact, we are different in our backgrounds. And I think that is something that in South Dakota and in Sioux Falls we're learning to embrace in a stronger way. And I think that's great because we need to do that. And so it's not the perfect world, but I will tell you, I've tried to spend 7 years as your mayor trying to leave Sioux Falls better than the way that I found it, okay? And I think we've come a long way. I do. Not to denigrate what it was like before, but if you're going to be a good public servant, I think you should try to make things better. And I think that we've done that. I think that we have. So we'll see. What would make the most perfect world for you, though, in the city of Sioux Falls? Go.
I would personally like to see education be put higher up on the, I don't know, I feel like education is really important, and I feel like there's a lot of, programs around Sioux Falls that everybody gets really into and really excited about, but if we can't have the money to fund those don't go on, and it just kind of it kind of dampens the mood a little bit. I feel like other than those, I mean, this is a great place to live. I really enjoy it, but I really feel like if I was to make Sioux Falls better, we'd have better education, we'd have more programs and more opportunities for people to come together and, just enjoy time together and really just enjoy living in Sioux Falls.
I agree. I agree. And it's one of the challenges that Sioux Falls faces. For example, we've got 3,000 job openings right now, and we don't have enough qualified workers to fill those jobs. And so one of the ways that you could make them more qualified is provide them better educational opportunities, better workforce training programs, and things like that. So no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think you'd have less crime, less issues if you put more money into educating kids, educating young adults, educating adults. I think that would ultimately happen. So I agree with you. I do get upset when we take money from education and move it to non-education related things. I don't think that's a good thing. But more often than not, that's exactly what we do. So I agree with you. I do. And I think many folks do agree with you as well. But what I'll tell you though is that at least in Sioux Falls, you can go to any school in this city, public or private, and you're going to get a really good education. You really are. And so I think that's something that, I don't want you to take that for granted. And you'll realize it someday. You will. You will. I don't know if it'll be 4 years from now or 8 years from now, but someday you're going to realize, you know what? That teacher at Roosevelt High School that I really didn't like that much because he or she was making me work so dang hard, I really appreciate him or her now. It does all pay off. So can I ask the rest of you, what would make Sioux Falls better? Come on, someone's got to have the guts to tell me. What would make Sioux Falls better? Yes. Anybody on this side real quick? Come on.
I think it would be a lot better if we could have 3 months of winter, a longer spring, a longer fall.
Yes, that's true. But one of the things that's great is that, and I'll take that. One of the things that's great is that we still have growth in Sioux Falls, even though we do have wind and ice and rain and things like that. We are overcoming that perception that it's just nothing but an ice wasteland here. So yeah, we've come a long way. So good job. Go.
I don't know, maybe like some more like entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tell me, what do you want?
What I want? It'd be nice to have a theme park.
I'm sorry?
Like a theme park? Yeah.
Yep. No, I get it. I get it. No, I understand it. I understand it. One of the challenges, though, with the theme park is what? And you know the answer. Space. No? Yes, a little bit. Weather. Because it's harder to have a theme park make money because you need not only population, but you need visitors, and you improve your chances of visitors at a theme park if you have good weather. That's right. So that is a challenge for us. That's why you have places like Wild Water West, for example, that it's a challenging business because they have to make all their money, all their revenues in about 5 to 6 months. Okay, that's more challenging. But no, I get that. You're looking for things to do. You are. You're looking for things to do. And we've come a long way, for example, like with our event center. We have the 88th busiest event center when it comes to touring events in the... No. Yes. Who said that? Yes. Very good. Hey, my theme park guy. He got it. We have the 88th busiest event center in the world when it comes to things like touring events. Okay? This is the place where these events want to be. And so again, we've come a long way, and that place has only been open 2 years. We were the 100th busiest last year, the first year. Now last year we made 88. Okay, so we've got a lot of good things going on. We're busy, and it's not just country acts. Okay, it's not. It's all different kinds of things, from sporting events to rodeos to bull riding to country to rock to gospel to you name it. We've got a lot of good things going on. So good job. Thank you. Thank you. Others?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I hear you're concerned about crime increasing. You've been here for a while. I've lived on the west side my whole life, and I've definitely seen an increase in crime on this side of town. What do you think is contributing to that? Obviously more people coming in, but is anything like the pipeline or anything outside of South Dakota? What do you think is contributing to a spike in crime, and what are you doing about that?
Very good. Very good. I've kind of touched on this a little bit, but let me just be more direct. The number one increase in crime, bar none, across South Dakota, whether it's a small town like Tripp, South Dakota, or a bigger city like Sioux Falls or Rapid City, the number one cause of the increase in crime, bar none, is drugs. Bar none. I'm at Roosevelt High School today, okay? I beg of you, I'm begging of you, do not ever attempt meth. And Sioux Falls, people were laughing in the room. They were laughing in the room. There was a couple. It is a drug that once you try it, once you attempt it, you're hooked. You're hooked. And then when you're hooked, here's what you do. Here's what you do. In order to feed that need to get that high even better, what you do is first you start stealing from your family. Then what you do is you start going to all the open car doors that you can find, and you start ripping off all the open cars. And then that doesn't do it. And then you start going into unlocked garages. And then that doesn't feed your habit enough. And then you know what you do? Then you start knocking off liquor stores and these convenience stores and these gambling casinos and stuff like that. Okay? It's real. It's meth, it's opioids, it's prescription drugs, it's heroin, it's marijuana, it's things like that. That is driving this increase of crime. So this pipeline, it's not oil pipeline, it's a drug pipeline. Okay?
With I-29?
It's all over. It's all over. It's Denver, it's Chicago, it's Minneapolis, it's Fargo. It's all around us, this pipeline of drugs. It's real. And it's not just Mayor Huether that's saying it, or Mayor Allender in Rapid City. It's people like Marty Jackley, Governor Dugard, and others. That is the real increase in crime. It is. It is. And young people, you're going to, whether you're at Roosevelt or whether you're at South Dakota State or whether you're doing some job in Texas or whatever it would be, you're all going to have the opportunity to try meth. And I'm just telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. Because it's going to get you. One of the greatest challenges that we have is that even those people that we arrest that are doing meth, the treatment programs that we have to get them off of it, they're slim to none. They're slim to none. So, here you've got a drug that just captures you, just grabs you, and then we can't get you off it. And one of the reasons we can't get you off it is that there's such limited treatment programs on it. So what do? We throw you in jail for a period of time, and then we let you get back out, and because that drug's so addictive, you just go right back to doing it because it's so easy to find. So it's the real deal. That's what's happening. Certainly, we've got more people moving into town, about 3,000 to 5,000 a year, and not everybody's a good neighbor that's moving into town. Some of them are just morons. They come into our town and all they want to do is rip people off, or they want to do bad things. That is real. That is real. But that's not the cause of our crime. The cause of our crime are really drug related. It's a good job. You have a comment? Thank you. Love it. Thank you. And your name, please?
I'm DJ, by the way.
Hi, DJ.
So, with follow up with that, what's one way you would reform the criminal system when it comes to like drug addicts and abusing drugs? How could we? How would you change the way that we treat them?
Yes. And DJ, my gosh, these are very good questions, and they take a lot longer than probably a 30-second snippet to try to answer it. But people like Governor Dugard, for example, along with whether it be the city, county, and state law enforcement agencies, are trying to work through this. Because on one hand, we don't want to be the state where we throw everybody in jail, but at the same time, we realize that if we don't have some of these folks in jail that are creating these crimes, they're just going to go right back in doing it. So, it's that balance. Do you put your money in education, or for high school kids, or do you put that money in reforming drug addicts? And I think that what we're trying to do in Sioux Falls and in South Dakota is try to find that balance on both. And for example, Governor Dugard is putting more money into trying to provide treatment for people with drug issues. The one thing that I guess I've been trying to do as your mayor, and this is going to sound almost a little wacky, but I believe it's a real thing, is I've been trying to provide opportunities for everybody. Better jobs, higher paying jobs, better quality of life, so that people, instead of going out and doing dumb stuff, such as drugs or ripping somebody off, been trying to provide them a better opportunity so that they can do it what I would consider the right way, versus sometimes the easy way out. But it's a beast. It's a beast. And do you believe in this meth thing that I said?
Yeah, I believe in it. I have a family member that has experienced with meth.
Thank you.
And he never really got the treatment that he needed until just like right now he's going through treatment for like the first time. I think actually the second time. And the times that he did go to jail for abusing drugs, he was maybe a month off of it and then just did it again. And he's like, he was helpless with it, and it created like a big it's like really intense problem with our family because it created family issues. We kind of like pushed him away, and I was the only one that kind of was like on his side because I'm like, well, it's like it's one thing that it's a lot harder than it seems. I don't think he's really wanting to do it. It's more like he's needing to. It's like it's a problem that we need to fix. And so he started going through treatment, and the first time he abused again, but now he's going through treatment again, and there was like family problems with that too, and we kind of pushed him away with that. So I think it's not just really our government or the criminal justice system that's affecting drug use. I think it's the way the family handles it too. But yeah, I definitely believe it, and it's a real thing. It's crazy. So yeah.
I've been doing this for about 8 years, and DJ, that may have been some of the most powerful words that I've heard in a listening learning session in 8 years. You can have people. Some people call me a public servant. Some people call me a politician. Some people call me other things too. But when I say it, I don't know if people always believe it. But when people like DJ say it, it's real. Because he just didn't talk about a family member that he loves. He talked about the impact on his family. He used words like the criminal justice system. He used words like not only one time, but doing it 2 times. He said something like 30 days after he was thrown in, it drew him back in. The drug drew him back in. I don't know DJ. I've never met him before today. At least I don't think so.
You met my dad.
I met your dad.
Yeah, he was he passed the citizenship test like 5 years ago.
Yes.
And he shook your hand and stuff and took a picture with you.
Well, DJ, well, I'm going to shake your hand. Thank you.
Yeah.
But when DJ says it, it's real. I mean, that was unbelievably powerful. I mean, he just relayed part of his heart and his head and his gut to you. You know, I'd give him a standing O if I could, but that's just the real deal. And again, you know, I don't want to be too dramatic when I talk about, you know, meth and how it can hook you. But I think if you don't believe me, ask DJ. Ask how it's impacted his family. And so thank you for sharing that. Yeah. If you want a picture afterwards, I'll get a picture with you too.
Awesome, yeah.
All right, thank you, thank you. Good job. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks for engaging me.
Hi, my name is Alex.
Hi, Alex.
We keep talking about how the drug rates increase crime and everything.
Yeah.
And now that there's many states legalizing marijuana,
Yes.
and the nation is actually considering it.
Yeah.
If that actually happens, how do you think it's going to affect us, not only in Sioux Falls, but also nationwide?
Okay. Wow, Alex, that's a very powerful question too. Wow. Teachers, you've done well. You've done well here. Alex, I think the reality is that yes, there are more and more states that are not only legalizing it, but then there's a kind of a movement to make it happen all across the nation. My gut says is that the state of South Dakota, if that were to ever occur, would be one of the last states to do that. I believe that, unless it's legalized nationally, and I don't see that happening for a long time. But I think that what it's going to do is a couple of things. We're just going to have to, you know, evaluate what will happen when you legalize a drug like marijuana. You know, for example, there's some aspects of it that I actually am in favor of. Okay, my dad, my father-in-law, has Parkinson's. Okay, so there are studies that have been done that shows that using marijuana for medical purposes, for example, for Parkinson's, is a good thing. Okay, but at the same time, if you would get Chief Burns here, or Mayor Allender here from Rapid City, or people in the criminal justice system, DJ, they'll say that they're worried that legalizing marijuana will just make things worse in our society because of the high that you get from marijuana. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. Other than I can tell you this, we are watching though what's happening in those states that are legalizing it. Those cities that are legalizing it, like Colorado, for example. Okay, one of the reasons that pipeline that we talked about, it's not only a meth pipeline, it's a marijuana pipeline as well, and that marijuana is coming in from states where it is legalized, like Colorado, and Colorado is a short drive away from Sioux Falls. It is just crossing the border. It's not that far away, so. We are starting to recognize that impact as well, and we're not the only ones watching it. It's people all over the country that are watching it. What do you think would happen?
Well, it's more of a gateway drug. I feel like they start using that at small amounts, and then they continue until it's not enough. It doesn't satisfy their cravings like DJ was talking about, so they move to bigger and more powerful drugs, that would be the problem, I think. I think if I'd have people with cancer too in my family that use it too, and I think it helps them a lot, but it's just the people who overuse it and not for medical purposes too. That's what we need to control. Very
good. You're using words like gateway drug. It's very good. Very good. You're studying more than just just fun stuff. Good job. Proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Others, come on. Something fun. Anything? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Tell me your name, please.
I'm Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
That goes off like the drug topic.
Okay, good.
So I've moved around a lot my whole life. And like there's nowhere that's like really a lot like Sioux Falls that I've lived. But so like makes it kind of unique. But I was wondering like what your favorite part about Sioux Falls is.
Okay. Hannah, can I ask where you've lived?
I was born in Florida, and then I moved to D.C., and then I lived in Iowa and Guam.
And Guam. Very good. Very good. Before I ask, can I ask you, what do you think is your best part of Sioux Falls?
The people.
The people, yeah. Yeah, and that's an easy answer, but I agree with you. We're South Dakota nice. That's what we are. I welcomed, we've got the NCAA Division II Men's Basketball Championships in Sioux Falls this week, okay? So we've got 8 universities from all over the country. Most are 1,000 miles away from here, including DC, California, Texas, Tennessee, places like that. And these young men and their coaches, I started to engage them last night after I gave my welcome. And Hannah,
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, they all said the same thing. They go, you people here are so nice. And we are. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It sounds a little hokey. It's a little hokey, Texas girl. But it is what we are. We're just trying to be nice. We are. Now, my daughter Kylie, when we moved back from Texas, sometimes we're a little closed off, though. We don't let people in as easily as maybe some would like. But yeah, I do like the South Dakota nice. For me, though, right now, what I like about Sioux Falls is that I think we're doing big city things, but we still have we're still a smaller town. I like that. I like that. Wade, it was you said when I came in that you were, you said you were worried that maybe we're going to lose that small town feel? Yes, yeah. And I think that is a concern, Hannah, that some people in Sioux Falls are starting to worry about, that we're going to lose that small town South Dakota nice feel that we have because we're growing at such a rapid pace. Yeah. But, still so much. I still really enjoy Sioux Falls because, to me, it was a great place to raise a family. You really can do whatever you want to do with your life here in South Dakota. Now, I'll tell you this again. My dad, mom were divorced. My dad drank too much. Okay, so I was the oldest of 4 kids. We had no money, bad buck teeth, helmet head for a haircut. Grandma sewed my underwear and my pants. All that stuff. But it was an environment, South Dakota, where, if I worked hard, if I studied hard, if I had faith in what I was doing was going to work out, I really felt confident that I could do some good things. And that same thing applies for all of you. It's real. It's real. It doesn't matter, again, what your income is, what your family dynamic is, what the color of your skin is, and none of that. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you're going to do with the day that you've been given. It is. This is your juniors and seniors, some of the best years of your life, but it's going to get even better. It's going to get even better. Just believe in yourself, take the day, and go do good things. And Hannah, this foundation called Sioux Falls, South Dakota, it's going to serve you well. It's going to serve you well. Any chance you'll stay in Sioux Falls?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
No, I think it's fair. No, I think it's fair. I left. I did. And I'm the mayor. I don't want anybody to leave, but I did leave. Cindy, Kylie, and I, we left. We went to New York for 5 years. Then we went to Texas for 5 years. Then we went to Europe, and then we came back to Sioux Falls. And we're glad we're here. Yeah, so good job. Thank you. Thanks, Hannah. Appreciate it. Others? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Hannah. And then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go there. Thank you. Thank you. Tell me your name, please. Maureen. Yep. Hi, Maureen.
Hi.
I'm just going to stay back here. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, how are your, this is a totally different topic, but I seen a while ago that it was announced that the LGBT law
yes.
is now it's an anti-thing in the state of South Dakota. How are your aspects and views on it, and how do you think it will change South Dakota? Will it decrease the population, or how will the other states around us feel about that?
Well, Maureen, what Maureen's talking about is that there's been a lot of discussion, not only this year, but also last year, about the LGBT community and, you know, how we are going to treat the LGBT community in all different kinds of ways. And my feeling is this, it's pretty simple. Again, I don't, you know, it's your race, your creed, your religion, your sexual orientation, whatever it is. I believe that we should treat everybody the same. Do everything we can to lift people up, to embrace diversity. That's what I believe, okay? And so, you know, I think the concern that mayors have, for example, in the city of Sioux Falls, is that if we give any perception that we're going to discriminate in the city of Sioux Falls, that is going to impact us. And if you don't believe me, just ask people in the state of North Carolina, for example. Okay? North Carolina, and again, this is, there's trade-offs and all the things that we do as a society, okay? But in North Carolina, they have some laws in the books that are considered discriminatory. And so there have been decisions made by groups like the NCAA, for example, who said, you know what, if you're going to discriminate, we're not going to do business in your state anymore. And so they actually pulled the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament from North Carolina, and they moved it to South Carolina. And again, those are some of those things that we have to consider as a city, as a society. And for me personally, I don't see why we should do things that ultimately offer any potential discrimination or isolation or prejudice or profiling, whatever it would be. I don't believe in it. What do you think, Maureen?
I believe that like it would be very like inhumane to like discriminate people in that way, and like it's okay for someone to like be with a like for their gender to be opposite, but it's not okay for like them to be the same gender.
I agree with you. I do. One of the toughest questions I've been asked in 8 years. My gosh, you guys doing good stuff. Doing good stuff. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Were you surprised with my answer?
No, I was kind of hoping you'd have that answer. So.
Okay. My mom, and I'm going to go over here. My mom, Diane, was the head nurse at the, it's called the State Hospital for 35 years. And now it's called the Human Services Center. And so my mom taught all of my family at a very early age that you treat everybody the same. Everybody. Including people that have mental challenges or mental, have some mental health issues, okay? And that's how we were taught. So again, whether it's your physical health, your mental health, the color of your skin, how you practice your religion, your sexual orientation, whatever it would be, we do have a belief, at least in our family, that everybody should be treated equally. Yes, who had that? There was yes, thank you. Tell me your name, please.
My name is Axel Donis.
Was it Axel?
Axel.
Axel, thank you.
So I got a quick question, mostly discussing with people in high school. So when you were in high school, did you know what you wanted to do like in life already, or were you still kind of like deciding? Like most of us are seniors, juniors, and sophomores are in our last stage of high school, just before college, and most of us do not like know what we want to do, are still in the dark. Is there any tips you can give most of our seniors who are especially going to graduate this year?
Good job. Well, Axel, I did, yes, I did. For example, I enjoyed things like math and public speaking and economics and public service. I personally did kind of have some ideas of what I wanted to do. But even when I went to college, I did change my major when I went to SDSU, and I ended up in commercial economics and political science, okay? My tips are this. And the millennial generation, you're certainly different than my generation. my tips are this, and that is, again, try to expose yourself to as much stuff as you can, educationally, socially. Just try to expose yourself to as much as you can. Okay, don't waste the day that you've been given. Take some risks, make some mistakes, do those things, because every time you do, it's going to make you better. Truly follow, I think, your heart and your head and your gut. You know, for example, if you're gonna, I don't know how many of you are gonna go to college, okay, or university, but if you do, if your heart isn't pumping when you leave that campus, don't go there. Don't go there, okay? If you are, if you're not motivated by that opportunity, that's a good indication. Your head and your heart and your gut are telling you something, Axel. They are, and so use that to help drive you in this life's journey. I think that would be important, and also realize this, okay? Even if you go a certain direction and it doesn't work out initially, you're going to be okay. You're going to be just fine. In fact, you may even be better off because it didn't work out the way that you had initially intended. This life's journey is so much fun in terms of the mistakes that you made. You learned from them. It made you stronger. It put a crust on your body. It got you ready for bigger things that are yet to come in your life, Axel. So don't put too much pressure on you, but at the same time, yeah, you got to take it seriously too. You know, college costs money. It does. And if you're going just to have a party and just to have some fun and hang out with some friends, save your mom and dad or whoever, save them some grief and don't go. Wait until you're ready. But certainly do things that you think will motivate you, that will make you excited, and that'll just help, you know, keep making your foundation better and better and better. Again, work for it, study for it, pray for it, but really enjoy it ultimately at the end, Axel. You're a little concerned though. You're worried. Okay. What are you thinking? Where are you thinking about going?
I'm still not deciding, but I like more of so far I've been liking more of the political news and the medical field. I like more of science and more interested in things that you can experiment with, like new ideas, stuff you can do.
Yeah.
And stuff that could help and benefit other people, especially.
Oh my gosh, that's the millennial generation right there. It is, and I actually really value it. When I was growing up, it was about, you know, how much money could I make and how much crap could I buy. That was it. Now, I think it's different. It's how can I make a difference in the world? How can I take the talents that I've been given and leave my city or my state or my country better? And I think that's wonderful. I do. Now, you still got to pay for things. You still got to get a job and make some money and put a roof over your head. You still have to do that. But, you know, you should do something that makes you excited. And maybe I'll leave you with this final thought. This is my final thought. And first of all, thank you for letting me come here today. I thank you. I do. My gosh, talk about challenging questions. I love it. And not everybody's going to agree with what I said on TV. They're not. I'm going to get some hard-hitting mail and phone calls because of this program. Thanks for doing it. Thank you. Because that's what I'm here for. I'm supposed to engage you. I'm supposed to tell you what I think. Not everybody's going to agree with me. In fact, some of you are going to be really mad with some of the things that I've said. But maybe your final thought is this, is that this generation, you people, you are going to make decisions differently than the way that I did it. Okay, when I graduated from South Dakota State, what I did is I went and found a job, and then I moved to that city where the job was. it's different now. You folks are different, and I like it. You know what you do? You decide on what city you want to live in first. Does it have a good quality of life? Great place to live, great place to work, great place to play. You pick the city you want to live in first, and then you go find a job. Okay? And that's why in Sioux Falls, we've really tried to make this a really good place to live. Because I think that's the biggest indicator of our success to get you folks to stay here. Hannah, it was Hannah. Hannah, I need you to stay here. Or at least I need you to move back someday. And so what I'm going to do the best thing that I can to make it a good quality of life so that you come back and live here. Because not only do I need you, I need Axel, I need DJ, I need Maureen, I need all of you to come back, and providing a good quality of life and a safe place to be is a way to make it happen. How do we do?
We still have just 5 minutes,
Okay.
but we want to say thank you. Let's take a minute to say thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we? Does somebody have a question that they must ask me? Okay. In that case, again, I thank you for letting me do this. Joel, good program. Thank you, Sioux Falls. Really appreciate that. And hey, Sioux Falls. For those of you who are sometimes questioning, our young people, and are we going to be? Are we in good hands? I think this program really gives you a good indication. I think we're in really good hands. Certainly, these young people aren't perfect, but neither is this mayor. Neither are their teachers. Neither are any of us. But I like our chances with these young people, and I look forward to the next opportunity I have to engage them and so many others. So make it a great day, Sioux Falls. Thank you.